calling it right now. This is the wildest design of 2025. I mean, are you kidding me? This is the Provoke X Axe from CRKT, designed by Joe Caswell. And I mean, this thing, it's a work of art. It is a folding pocket axe from CRKT, and we are gonna test the effectiveness of this Provoke X Axe on a ballistic dummy, so make sure you stay tuned. My name is Tomas Alas, you're watching the Tactical Tavern, and let's cut into it. This might look familiar to you because Joe Caswell, who designed this, also designed the Provoke Karambit, which is a morphing karambit, and took that design philosophy and applied it to a pocket morphing tomahawk. My first impressions when I saw this at SHOT Show in 2025, I was blown away. I thought it was one of the coolest things. It's innovative, and I like that. In a world of fast knives, this has some wild design innovation, but is it practical for a self-defense situation? We're gonna find out. In this video, I'm gonna give you my honest impressions, the pros, the cons, the value behind it, in order to help you decide if this blade is right for you. I'm also gonna share my insights on how I would carry, deploy, and use this tool for personal protection from a Filipino martial arts and bladed martial arts background. This is going to be fun. The Provoke X Morphing Axe comes in with an overall length of 8.69 inches, making it extremely compact. Similar to a large smartphone, it really has similar characteristics, including the thinness, which really blew me away. I mean, it is super thin, literally the same thickness as a smartphone. And I like that it carries that slim design both in the open and closed position. This makes it really comfortable to carry, and I say yes, carry it, because it comes equipped with a pocket clip. And it is dual-sided pocket clip, so you can carry it if you're a lefty. This weighs in at 13.2 ounces, making it fast and nimble in the hand, which I personally really like for those quick strikes and follow-up shots, being able to get multiple strikes in on an opponent or incoming attack. When fully deployed, you'll notice that the Provoke X is a double-sided tomahawk. We have one side that is a traditional head of a tomahawk, and then we have a beautifully done spike on the back end. I seriously love how aggressive this spike is, having like a Warncliffe style blade to it. It is not sharp on the bottom, only on the top edge, and I think that's really good. In case your hands slide up or you're using it for a more detailed cutting task, this is not gonna hurt you, but yet it gives you a ton of penetration capabilities, and there's nothing for it to snag onto. So I predict when we test this on the ballistic dummy, it's gonna come in and out and be able to crack some ribs open real nice. On the other side, we have the cutting edge of the tomahawk, and this measures in at 1.84 inches overall. Both the cutting edge and the spike are comprised of SUJ2 steel. If you're unfamiliar with it, I had to look it up. It's similar to 52-100 high carbon tool steel or ball bearing steel, so it is very tough stuff, which is a good choice for a high impact tool. Now, something that got me thinking while I was carrying and using this, the blade length comes in at 1.84 inches, right, for that cutting tomahawk side. Now, if you live in a jurisdiction, city environment, or potentially even like a government building that limits your blade length carry to 2 inches, would this fit the bill? I mean, it's under 2 inches for the blade length, right? If any of you guys have a law background, comment down below, ask a friend, would that clarify as a 2-inch or sub 2-inch blade? Because if that's the case, this could be a big win if you live in whatever kind of weird jurisdiction that limits your blade carry. This is a significant force multiplier for a personal protection tool. Something to think about. And this locks into place with the CRKT deadbolt lock, and it has that kinetic opening, so you flick it down to open it, but I found another hidden way to open this. Now, we also talked about a quiet way to open your CRKT Provoke X Axe. It sounds like a shotgun, like when you're racking a home shotgun. So a quiet way to do it is when you pull down on the safety, your thumb is already here, slide this out, let the spike of the tomahawk come out and catch it on your pants, and you're ready to rock. So that's a quiet way to open the tomahawk. You can also do it two-handed if you wanted to do it quiet. But the most fun and rewarding way is slashing it down. The deadbolt lock on this gives me some added confidence while using it. It's not a liner lock, it is the deadbolt. So even if you go to close it and you press this button, it's not gonna close. You have to apply additional pressure from the back end in order to release it. And I really like how much pressure it requires to close it, because you certainly want to make sure your hands are protected. A tip while closing this I have found is think of like a guitar string or eating a slice of pizza. That claw 3-finger grip will help in closing it, because you have to have opposing pressure and downward force in order to undo that blade. So you can see if I'm just pressing the button, it's not gonna close. Make sure your fingers are clear from the bar and apply that 3-finger grip with downward pressure. and it'll smoothly close. The last consideration and word of advice while closing this is to be super careful. There is jimping along the sides of the handle, but there's no significant guard. So while you're going to close this, seriously watch out for your fingers that they're not super high up, because your fingers will go right by that sharp edge. So I have found if you keep them below this serrated area, you're perfectly in the clear. Other than that, just be mindful and present while closing it. Don't try to drop shut this thing. As we work our way down the handle, we have stainless steel and glass reinforced nylon that bring it to a swell. This circular open is similar to what we found on the Provoke X Karambit, but it is necessary because both of these arms move slightly during the opening and closing process. And I really enjoy though that it gives you a nice swell to lock your fingers into. This really aids in your retention because the stainless steel and the grivery nylon material, that reinforced nylon, is pretty slick. So having that added retention with the flare out really secures your hands in, and I'm so happy they included that. If you're looking for additional traction, I feel you could absolutely put in some grip tape or skater tape on the outsides and let your fingers wrap around and give you a little something extra to hang on to. And I know what you guys are probably thinking, can you flick this around like a karambit? Absolutely, but do I recommend it? Absolutely not. This is a tomahawk and it should be used as such. That being said, I think it is still pretty cool that you could technically do it as such if you needed to, but again, not recommended. It's double-edged. You don't want to hurt yourself. So the handle does have some slightly enhanced traction with the jimping along both the stainless steel and the nylon. However, you want to make sure you have a good secure grip on it, utilizing that ring, and don't let go. So who is this for? Well, CRKT does a great job of making sure you know that this is more for personal protection and self-defense than a prolonged use outdoor tool. And I will say that's pretty accurate, especially with the handle design. It's comfortable for what it is. I would not want to be hammering logs with this or using it around the campsite. Not what it's meant for. This is a personal protection situation. Your hands are filled with adrenaline. You're hanging on for dear life and using it to defend your life. And as such, it's not going to be held on for a long time. Meaning it's comfortable enough, but you definitely want to be careful. Maybe using it with gloves would not be a bad idea. But I think it is cool that they got all of this going on with something that's basically the size of a cell phone. And looking at it in the perspective of a Filipino martial artist or bladed martial artist, I love that the steel is leading the flesh, not the flesh leading the steel. And what I mean by this is if you take a look at the CRKT HZ4 fixed blade, you have your steel, your knuckles and your hand is leading the flesh in a hammer grip. When you hammer grip this thing, you have about 1.5 inches of additional steel that is protecting your knuckles, making it a harder target to get through. If you wanted to touch my knuckles, you have to go through this wall of steel. So what's up, son? Versus for any skilled bladed martial artist, the hands are typically the first thing they go for in a term we call defanging the snake. And this gives you some of that added protection, being able to protect yourself from getting hit in the hand. Because it's only about 13.2 ounces, the recovery and the blade striking is so fast. A quick snap cut could lob off a finger, and especially with that spike right to the eye, this thing is so fast. If you happen to overstrike or miss, the retraction strike with just a quick hip or bringing your elbow to your rib cage is gonna absolutely devastate and shred and set you up for another shot. So as an effective tool, it's gonna work great. The other thing I really enjoy about this is that in extreme close quarters, maybe a grappling situation, think an elevator, you have additional control and trapping options. It acts like a hook to control your opponent, smash into them, or simply cut and slash, which is one of my favorites. If you think about going down to the Achilles tendon, cutting that with a push cut using the rounded edge of the sharpness, and then hooking, it's gonna set you up for a follow-up strike that's very devastating. Unlike a traditional straight fixed blade, this also gives you enhanced leverage capabilities. So even if you strike in and you're twisting out through the rib cage, you're gonna be able to tear that open because you have enhanced leverage. This is like a joystick handle, being able to control your opponent. So that's nice. And while looking at this as a whole for a personal protection tool, we have to consider the escalation of force from not being in the situation, using your voice, to defensive posturing, and then of course tools to enhance that distance management. I love it in the closed position because you can slap the crap out of someone. It also has these really nicely sharpened metal edges that you can use. Again, this locks into place. You don't have to worry about it popping open. It's like a 1911 slide lock. Down is go, up is no. But using this as a de-escalation tool to snap it onto the hands and break some fingers, popping it into the jaw to bust out some teeth and call the tooth fairy, I think you have a ton of options. I mean, paring it out of the way, busting down on the clavicle to immobilize your attacker, dropping low and hitting the knee. This gives you so much power in your hands instead of risking hurting or injuring yourself. So I love that you can use it in the closed position as its own force multiplier, and if things get really bad, well, now you have 2 points of extra protection. The other thing that's really nice is the sound of this. I equate it to like racking a shotgun, because when this thing opens up, oh yeah, you know it means business. And the psychological mind freak of watching someone deploy a freaking tomahawk from their pocket, probably not someone you want to mess with. If they're carrying this around, they probably know what they're doing, and even if they don't, from a beginner standpoint, this is going to cause a ton of damage. Speaking of which, let's go test it out on the Ballistic Dummy and see what it's actually capable of. All right, here we are with the CRKT Provoke Morphing X Axe. Now, what I'm going to do is demonstrate how it can be used as an impact device as a less lethal option for self-defense. First off, what I'm going to do is smack into the teeth, right? Maybe this is a wham, get off me shot. Next, we're gonna go down to the xiphoid process and check out how it works into the sternum. Sounded like E40 there. After that, we're gonna check out one of the ribs and see, maybe you do a backhand reverse shot, a forehand shot, just to get them off you without having to deploy these beautiful spikes on either end. And something I really like about this is that it has a lock on there. And before we get started, we're gonna put on some safety glasses, and later on when we do the cut test, we got some protective gloves, because I truly value my fingers, and so should you. First up, we have an impact test to the teeth. 3, 2, 1. Oh, did you hear that? Holy crap, look at it. It fractured the entire jaw. Look at that, cracked down into the jaw. Definitely broke some teeth on that, and that sounded gnarly. I hope the mic can pick up that sound. Next up, we're gonna do one more to the side of the jaw here, maybe along to the temple. Look at that, it fractured perfectly right into the TMJ. Could potentially even be a knockout blow. Look at that, it went right in there, causing some hemorrhaging. Beautifully done. And that's using just the corner of this because it is made with metal on these sides here, so making it quite an effective impact tool. Next up, we're gonna hammer right into the xiphoid process. Again, this is just a quick snap hit. 3, 2, 1. Look at that. Completely shattered it. It is now loose. Look at that crack right there. That's going to be really hard to breathe. Take my breath away. Okay, we don't sing, we hit. In close quarters, maybe you're in a clench situation and you get to hit the ribs. Let's see if this thing as an impact device will break the ribs. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, I heard it. It looked like it cracked. Let's see. Let's do one more time. This time we're gonna give it just a couple whacks. Ba-bam! Yeah, that definitely broke some ribs. Next up, a collarbone strike. Again, close quarters, they're coming at you. A get off me strike. We'll see if it has what it takes to get down in there. So it definitely made it through the tissue here. You can see this wound there, and I firmly believe that that would easily be able to crack a rib. I mean, that thing definitely went down in there. Hit it for sure. It's going to make it really hard and uncomfortable to move your arm after that. So I think this actually does have some good stopping power. We're gonna do one more shot here onto the side of the cheek, just because we're feeling generous. We're in the giving mood today. Oh yeah, look at that. Completely shattered the cheekbone. Can you guys see that? Look at that. Look at that. You can see it moving around in there. I can press my whole finger in there. It shattered it in 1, 2, 3 places. I'm gonna put the stamp of approval on this, that as an impact device, before we even get into the Provoke X capabilities of the axe and the spike, this has stopping power to use as an impact device. So we tested the effectiveness as an impact tool. Now it's time to activate the blade and that nasty spike. First strike we're gonna do is we're gonna hammer right into the abdomen and just see what that looks like. I'm also gonna leave it in. I'm not gonna retract it, just so we can see what kind of depth we get. This is more of a close quarter weapon, so I'm not gonna have a super big windup. Think of like an elevator where you can just only get a quick shot in. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Perfect. I'm gonna leave it in so you guys can come in close and see what that looks like. We got about halfway down with minimal effort. I am really happy to see how far that went in. Let's pull it out now. Ooh, nice abdomen shot right there. Beautifully done. After this, we're gonna do the spike. Same thing, we're just gonna hammer it in, leave it in, and see how far that gets us. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, I like that. This one went a little bit deeper as expected because it is a sharper point. Let's pull it out slowly. Wow, minimal resistance on there. I really like these grooves that they put in. Check out that hole. And especially if you come around from this side, you can really see the depth at which it went in, coming in right there. Because it's jelly, it does collapse a little bit, which gives you even deeper penetration to hit some organs. Now that we have it open and out, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hammer in and I'm gonna pull out and just see what kind of damage that'll cause. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Whoa, look at that. So we got that cut in and look at all that internal hemorrhaging right there from this axe. That is truly exceptional. There's a big bubble inside of there. Look at that. Wow. That is a devastating blow. And that's really what this axe is designed for, is more of those soft tissue targets. And I think that absolutely demonstrates right there. With that torque that you get from the handle and that flare out gives you a ton of leverage, not only vertically, but also horizontally, being able to twist that out. That's freaky. We're gonna do that same test, but this time with that spike and see what kind of exit wound it's gonna make. 3, 2, 1. Wow, that is working really well. Again, you know what's insane is it's just slightly smaller than the actual hole that the big head made, which tells me that this spike here is one of the most lethal things that we've seen here on the Ballistic Dummy. Because of the amount of leverage and torque you get, it rips out. I mean, you're gonna have a lot of entrails coming with you on that. So you can see what they had for lunch, dinner, and breakfast. Yum. Now something I wanna test is how well it does on the extraction if it gets stuck. Can you get a couple of repeated blows to soft tissue, shoulder, leg? That's kind of what this area is gonna demonstrate, the abdomen. So we're just gonna do a couple of hammer shots here and see how it does. Ready? 3, 2, 1. No resistance. When you really want to torque it out, it just pulls right out. I mean, we can come in close and look at those shots. They just went right in and right out. Now, granted, this doesn't have blood in it, and that's so we can show it on a variety of platforms. However, that makes it even trickier in order to get in here because there's none of that lubricant. So all of that friction is being clamping down onto the blade. The coating that they put on this does an excellent job at being able to extract it. I imagine with extra lubrication from natural materials, it's gonna slide out even faster. Same thing, repeated strikes into the lower abdomen, going for the liver here with the spike. 3, 2, 1. It's like nothing, it's like hitting a pillow. This thing just bites right in. I feel like we could even do it slowly. Yeah, look at that penetration and the extraction, effortless. Well designed. And let's see if this will even just come in here. Yeah, you can do like a push cut. That's how insanely sharp this axe. I mean, you can hear it. That is sharp. Which actually gives me an idea. Let's test and see. Maybe you got into, again, that confined space. Let's hammer in here into the shoulder area and cut down, seeing if maybe we could get a brachial cut, which runs down the arm. So again, close quarters, maybe you stop the weapon here as it was coming in and you hammer down in. Let's see if we can get a cut. Ready? 3, 2, 1, boom. That just filleted the entire arm. I'm just pulling this apart just to show you that cut. Look, let's check out how deep that went with the axe. Not adding to the cut, just showing you that that went in the entire depth of the tomahawk, cut straight in. I love how jagged it is too, as that rips out. That is a beautiful cut on such a small blade. I did not think that it was gonna have that much cutting capability. I didn't. But to see it here on the dummy, you can't deny that. That is exceptional. That is exceptional. Holy smokes. CRKT, Joe Caswell. This is cool. This is cool. So we did one where you stop it, drop it. I'm curious to see now, maybe you did a double hammer, they have an incoming weapon. Let's cut across to the neck and see what that would look like. Ready? 3, 2, 1, boom. All right, so we went low on the shot, but that's okay. Stuff happens. Whoa. It still went super deep. right into there. Exquisite. One more I'm curious about is, again, doing a block and then a chop right into the neck. So let's say they're coming in with like a wild hammer, maybe trying to stab. We block and then we chop. Ready? 3, 2, 1. That went right into the bone. I hope the mic picked that up so you guys can hear that. Let's get a shot in there. It literally just severed the vertebrae. It just severed the vertebrae. I'm gonna get behind so you guys can see that. That chopped into the neck, hitting the spinal cord, I bet. Because if you come around from this side here, it'll show you how deep that thing went in there. It definitely hit the neck and the spine. We're gonna simulate drawing this from the pocket, deploying it, and then hammering into the ribs here with the sharp side of the tomahawk. 3, 2, 1. Come in and check this out. So it made it right in between the ribs. Also, what I believe, cutting them on the way in. Let's see the extraction here. Oh yeah, nice. Great shot right there. Especially just coming out from a deploy. Love to see that. Now I'm just gonna hammer in to see what it would do to crack the ribs. We got pieces of bone flying out. Get a close look in on that. Again, minimal effort here, and we can see the bone fragment coming out from the tomahawk. Minimal edge deformation too from all the bone strikes. Keep in mind, we've been using this all over the body. This is awesome to see here. It definitely has some stopping capabilities to it, which is cool. Now, one of the most exciting tests that I wanted to do was a heart stop. So I'm gonna come in with the spike end of this tomahawk right into the heart and see what we can do. 3, 2, 1. So I did feel it glance off of the bone. You can see it stuck in here. And again, it went down deep right into the chest cavity. Let's pull it out slowly. Have you guys take a look at that. Right down in there. For sure hitting the lung and puncturing that. And keep in mind, the chest will also compress. That's why compressions are given. That's beautiful to see. Now let's just do a couple of strikes with the back end of the tomahawk. Oh, one more. It's just too fun. And we'll give it a crack out. Yeah, that's vicious. I was purposely aiming for the bone just to do a test to see it. Absolutely zero deformation on the tomahawk. One of the things I was also curious about is maybe you were aiming for the head and they came back. What does the back end of the tomahawk do? So we're gonna do that into the chest cavity on the other side. Maybe you're going for a lung or something. So here, definitely did. I'm gonna do one more here. All right, come in and check this out. So just on the backhand strike, it was effortlessly able to penetrate into the chest cavity, tissue, pectoral mass right there. If you're lucky, maybe you'll have enough depth. Again, this is not a super powerful strike, but it definitely has enough to get in there. I'll see if I can leave this in here so you guys can see what I just did. Just holding it up so it doesn't twist out. Right there onto the bone inside. You can hear it scraping. Pulling it out slowly. So yes, it definitely has enough to go in and glance around to cut in there. The other thing I really wanted to do was just use this spike and give the eye some love. You know, that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So let's see what it would do going into the eye, because I just love that idea. Perfect strike into the occipital lobe. I'm gonna leave this in so you guys can see that. Look at that beautiful strike. How exceptional, how exceptional. I'm so happy with that. So that easily was able to go through. What I'm really curious about to see is, did it make it through the back side of the bone? Let's see if we can hear it. Oh, I think it did. Oh, we got money. Yep, he has a new socket. So if we peel that back in, you can see the hole. You can see the hole right there going into the back side of the skull. Gray matter. Gray matter. Now I got to do the other eye. Cutting edge time down in the eye. So brutal. And the retrieval. Bone chunks are flying out of this thing. Look at the bone chunks coming out. You guys can see. Oh my gosh. Peeling back that eye hole. Yep. We'll do one more onto the top of the head because I know people are going to get really excited with that. If you guys are enjoying this video, please make sure to drop a like, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you won't miss future videos on ballistic dummy tests that we got coming your way. 3, 2, 1. Oh, look at that bold right there. It totally popped out the skull underneath. Yep. Oh man. Yeah. Nice. All right, we got a couple more tests. We're gonna come around to the backside of the dummy. In a close quarter combat situation, you might overstrike, and that's the beauty of that double-edged tomahawk, is being able to come back. So we're gonna simulate that you overstrike, and you're gonna come into the back end of the computer to see if we can turn it off. 3, 2, 1. I'm just gonna leave that in there. Wow, on minimal effort, it was effortlessly able to hit the back end of the skull, going right into the brain. Now, we're gonna cut back to this moment here and we're gonna twist it out. Oh yeah, they're done. They're done. Good night. And as you can see here, Ballistic Dummy Lab made the dummy. So shout out to Chris and the team there. Thank you guys for creating such a beautiful, atomically correct torso for us to test the CRKT Provoke X Axe on. Hey, while we're here, let's just do a back end of the cranium. So maybe you were able to do a sweep trap. You got their arm here. Let's cut them out with the base of the skull with the sharp edge of the axe. Here we go. Vicious. Again, I'm leaving it in there on purpose to show you guys how deep it went. Take a 360 there. That thing is in there, severing the skull. Beautiful. Again, we came in like this. In order to get it out, we're gonna have to twist it out. Yeah, that's gorgeous. I love that. Wow, look at that, all mush inside of there. All right, let's test the durability of this, see how we're doing. There's no wiggle whatsoever. That, I'm surprised, not even gonna lie, that is surprising. Super smooth still, quick to deploy. I mean, this thing is, chopping vertebrae. That's not what this is even designed for, but it's just severing the vertebrae. I got one last test that I really want to do. And what we're going to do is we're going to come into the back of this and we're going to do a drop. So we're going to come back onto the back end of the spine. Again, let's say you cleared the arm, you came back over here, hammered in, we're going to drag down. 3, 2, 1. Whoa, look at this Z cut right here, all the way down the spine. That's going to take out tons of nervous system information highway right there. The back ripper right there. Also, a huge thank you to CRKT for sending this in for testing and evaluation and being open to the comments, as well as supplying the ballistic dummy so we can test out the Karambit and the HZ4. If you guys want to see more of this style of content, comment down below and we'll do what we can to make it happen. Well, there you guys have it. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to comment down below, drop a like, share it with a friend to share some information. This is the CRKT Provoke X Axe, designed by Joe Caswell. If you guys want to see more tests like this, let us know what you'd like to see tested here on the channel. Once again, my name is Tomas Alas. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, be prepared, be practical, stay tactical.